Well, I'm joined now by former acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker. Matt, welcome to the program.
Grant, great to be with you tonight.
First off, let me ask you about the jury here, because this is a D.C. jury. I'm not sure they could have convicted anybody that was on the other side than Hillary Clinton.
You're right. And remember, in D.C., they're picking from a jury pool that's even worse than the jury they got. These are the ones that they had to keep because everyone they wanted to exclude was even worse. So this does not surprise me. I think, I was on Newsmax earlier last week talking about how difficult a conviction was going to be in this case, but all is not lost. And one of the things I'm telling everyone is that, we got a front row seat to sort of their dirty tricks and how the media, together with the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign, colluded to spread scurrilous lies and deception across the nation to try to win an election in 2016. And that is worth something, even if the conviction was not achieved.
Matt Whitaker, it's one thing for a campaign to say mean things or spread lies. It happens in politics all the time. We're big boys. We know that. It's another to use the Department of Justice and the FBI to do it on your behalf. That's a whole different ballgame.
No, it's extraordinary. And the thing I'm surprised the most is that somebody like Sussman, who, by all indications is a respected swamp lawyer, would actually take false information and walk it into the FBI and try to sell it as real, worth investigating. I mean, this is extraordinary, but this happens all the time. We have criminalized the politics in this country, and we need to get away from this, where one side thinks the other side should be thrown in jail instead of doing the difficult work of winning hearts and minds and winning elections. But this is the type of desperate act that Hillary Clinton needed, because if you remember at the time, that email server was eroding her base of support, which was already thin to start.
Yeah. Talking about this jury, this gets to exactly what you're talking about here. Let me throw up a quote here. I mentioned it just a little bit earlier, but this Sussman juror said, I don't think it should have been prosecuted. There are bigger things that affect the nation than a possible lie to the FBI. Now, you want to talk about an open and shut case here. The prosecutors had the billing records. He literally billed the Clinton campaign, the DNC, for his visit to the FBI when he was claiming he wasn't visiting anybody on their behalf. If that's not dead to rights caught, I don't know what is, Matt Whitaker.
Well, and not only that, Grant, I believe that quote was from the foreperson of the jury. And, this was I think, a classic jury nullification where the evidence was overwhelming. They had proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. It was clearly material because the FBI looked into the allegations that they received. But remember, Sussman had gone and sworn under oath in front of Congress and their investigation that he was representing somebody when he went to the FBI. And then, obviously, the text message came out later after the case was charged, and it got a lot stronger. And so, ultimately, I think Sussman rolled the dice and knew that this jury was never going to convict somebody that had been a loyal Clinton member of the Army to help her try to win an election.
So, like you said, it's bigger than Sussman. There was a lot of real information that just proves how high up this went, including meetings with Barack Obama in the Oval Office talking about this bogus dossier. What's the one thing you would like people to remember coming out of this trial, or maybe the most important piece of information in about 20 seconds, if you can?
Well, the thing that we've talked about before that I just think cannot be forgotten is when the seventh floor, when the management and leadership of the FBI gets involved in investigations, things always go off the rails. They need to rely on the men and women in the field that do this type of work that, as you know, within a day or two completely dismiss this. Even the people they sent it to in Chicago, who ultimately said, who gave us this? This looks like complete garbage. Those are the people we need to rely on to build cases, not the people in leadership like Comey and McCabe that are completely corrupt.
Yeah. Playing politics. My pick would be Hillary Clinton was asked about what to do with it, and she says give it to the media. She knew about this as well.
Yep.
A lot of stuff coming out of this trial. Matt Whitaker, it's always good to see you, my friend. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Grant.